What's up, y'all? This is Soja, and you are right now listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Big up yourself.
The podcasting technology of NORML is made possible by Red Aphid Interactive Media. More information at redaphid.com. And distributed by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws in Washington, D.C. This is your Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Welcome to the most popular audio podcast regarding marijuana in all of America and all the world, featuring interviews with scientists, politicians, doctors, prohibition policy activists, regular cannabis consumers, musicians, and NORML staff and NORML's board of directors, along with music and comedy no other podcast can offer. You can always find out more about the show at our website, NORMLAudioStash.com. We're ending marijuana prohibition with education, one listener at a time. Welcome back to the Audio Stash. Today it's Monday, July the 30th. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Take a moment to join us at NORML to help end senseless marijuana prohibition in America. Legalization won't happen without your support. So make sure you join or donate to NORML right now today at NORML.org. August 10th is coming up fast. It's a week from this Friday. Well, what's happening on August 10th? That's when Willie Nelson, Paula Nelson, Carolyn Wonderland, Asleep at the Wheel, Jackie the Joke Man Martlin, and former Dallas Cowboy Mark Stepnoski will be in Austin, Texas, holding a huge benefit called the Austin Freedom Rally. It will benefit NORML and other marijuana reform groups. You can attend it. There are 5,200 seats, but they're selling out fast, so make sure to get your tickets today. We have links to the Austin Freedom Fest website where you can buy your tickets online right up on our website today at NORMLAudioStash.com. We're going to speak with a couple of the folks who will be on stage at the Austin Freedom Fest this week here on the Audio Stash, so stay tuned for that. And next week, folks, there may be a very special opportunity for a few of our Audio Stash listeners to win tickets to the Austin Freedom Fest. But don't wait to win your tickets. Buy them today online. We have links to do so at NORMLAudioStash.com. In the stash this week, we'll be debunking the marijuana mental illness link. That's a reefer madness story that's been circulating from the UK this week. I'm sure you've seen it online or in the news. Reporters are making a lot out of nothing this week. You've got to wonder why anybody's writing about it at all, but we're going to find out more about the supposed links and how the media is spinning the statistics with experts this week right here on the Audio Stash. On the program today, we've got Chris Crane from Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We're going to get an update on the Higher Education Act and actually provisions that could be repealed from the Higher Education Act. Since 1998, hundreds of thousands of Americans have been kept out of college and university for a single substance violation. Most times it's just for simple marijuana possession that these students are losing their federal financial aid, but that could all stop, and it could be retroactive, which means all those students who lost their financial aid could get their financial aid back if these provisions are repealed. These provisions were in front of a Senate committee last week, a Senate committee that included Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. It got bounced back into the House this week. We're going to get an update on the Higher Education Act from Chris Crane in just a few moments. If you're a student who has lost your federal financial aid because of these provisions or a substance violation, please contact Students for Sensible Drug Policy today. Their contact information is available on our website today and also at ssdp.org. Also in the program today, we're going to have some great pod-safe music and comedy from the Independent Online Distribution Alliance and podshow.com. But first today, we've got some news about the hard-working American marijuana consumers here today. Let's get to our daily news right here on the Audio Stash. Our news today. Federal government admits most marijuana smokers have full-time jobs. The Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, reported last week that most of the nation's millions of daily marijuana smokers are holding down a full-time job. The study, Worker Substance Use and Workplace Policies and Programs, shows that American marijuana consumers are essential and productive participants in the American economy. If all marijuana smokers in America were removed from the workplace, then the country would instantly lose almost 10% of all full-time employees across all job types. The SAMHSA report also concluded that fewer employees use any illicit substances at companies that conduct drug testing. The SAMHSA report made a cursory implication of employees who use illicit substances as having productivity problems. However, a previous study by investigators at Lemoyne University discovered that random workplace drug testing is associated with a drastic decrease in productivity. The Lemoyne researchers looked at 63 high-tech businesses and reported that drug testing was associated with an up to 20% decrease in worker productivity. Researchers concluded that random drug testing policies create a, quote, negative workplace environment, close quote, for employees. Authors of the study also wrote that drug testing may compel some employees to switch from using cannabis to more serious substances, such as cocaine, heroin, or alcohol, because those substances are harder to detect than cannabis. Drug czar John Walters and SAMHSA encouraged more employers to enact drug testing programs with apparently little concern with the overall economic impact of having worker productivity losses in double-digit percentages as a direct result of such practices. It is not known exactly how many Americans regularly consume marijuana. The National Institutes of Drug Abuse estimate that 14.5 million Americans consume marijuana at least once per month in 2005. That was based on individuals self-reporting their experiences on federal government surveys. NIDA also reports that 97 million Americans have self-reported consuming marijuana at least once in their lifetime, and that currently 6,000 people a day try marijuana for the first time. Non-governmental sources estimate 25 million or more Americans are regularly consuming cannabis. Almost 800,000 citizens are arrested each year for marijuana prohibition violations. The new SAMHSA report highlights that those arrested are mostly full-time employees, and that cannabis prohibition is having much more of a negative impact on the American workforce than cannabis consumption. We have links for more information about this story on our website at normalaudiostash.com.
You're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash.
Next up today, it's time for an update on the Higher Education Act with the Director of Students for Sensible Drug Policy, Chris Crane. Chris, welcome back to the program today.
Thanks for having me back.
Great to speak with you this week, Chris. Tell us what's happening right now with the Higher Education Act. This is something SSDP and other groups such as NORML have been working very diligently on.
That's right. Well, just a little bit of background. We're talking here about the Higher Education Act, in particular the Higher Education Act aid elimination penalty, which is a provision that automatically makes students with drug convictions ineligible for federal financial aid for college. The entire Higher Education Act is up for reauthorization this year, and this is the first time it's been reauthorized since 1998, when this penalty was originally put into the law. We are in the middle of a major campaign to get this aid elimination penalty or drug provision removed from the Higher Education Act as a whole. The bill was recently taken up by the Senate. Unfortunately, the Senate did not pass it with language that would remove the penalty. There was originally some good language in there that would have prevented the Education Department from enforcing it. That language was removed from the final bill. However, our real push is and has been in the House of Representatives, where we've received word that the Education and Labor Committee, which is going to be taking up the bill shortly, is likely to include language that would repeal the penalty outright. So we're really focused right now on making sure that the House, that first in the House the bill is introduced with this language removed, and also that passes all the way through the House of Representatives, in which case we have a very good chance at seeing this penalty repealed.
And Chris, last time we discussed the Higher Education Act, we were talking about the Senate committee that included Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, but there are also some notable representatives on this House committee as well.
Well, the chairman is Chairman George Miller from California. He's a longtime co-sponsor of the RISE Act, which is a standalone bill to repeal the penalty, and he's the chair of the committee, which means he gets to author the bill, and his staff has been very supportive, and we're very hopeful that they're going to introduce this with language that would fully repeal the penalty. The committee itself is a huge committee. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you all of the members on it, but I mean, we're talking here about 35 or so members of Congress that sit on the Education and Labor Committee.
And those who chair House committees like this one tend to have a lot of sway, don't they?
Well, at the committee level, the chair has an incredible amount of sway. Basically, the way that this works is essentially the chair is the author of the reauthorization bill. So if the chair wants something in the bill, he simply has to write it into the original language. Now, in the Senate, the reason that we didn't get the full repeal language, we believe, is that they tend to work on a much more bipartisan basis. So even if the chair wants something in the bill, the chair needs to get support from the minority party. In this case, the Democrats being a majority in both houses. In the Senate, they do need support from the Republicans. In the House, it's pretty much up to the chair to introduce the bill as he sees fit. And we have been talking with his staff, and like I said, we're optimistic that it is going to be introduced with language that would remove the aid elimination penalty from the Higher Education Act.
And because these provisions have taken aid away from tens of thousands of students, this is something that will have a direct impact on a large portion of the college population. And many young people have been very active in trying to get these provisions repealed. Chris, is this committee right now in the House still a good place for people to get active on this issue?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the best thing that they could do would be to call the members of the committee, particularly if they are in a district represented by a member of the Education and Labor Committee. If they are, they should definitely call their member and ask them to support this. As the main reason I say that is that even if Chairman Miller does introduce the bill with the aid elimination penalty language removed, we still are likely going to have to fight back against an amendment by or a proposed amendment by Mark Souder, who we anticipate will introduce such an amendment that would put the penalty back in place. So we need to make sure that we've got the support of every member of the committee to vote against something like that. The other thing that we're really looking for right now are students who have been impacted by this provision. Students who have lost their financial aid because of a drug conviction and are currently ineligible for financial aid due to a drug conviction. We're looking for, like I said, for those types of students, and we're hoping that we can bring them out to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of Congress to give a firsthand personal account of how this penalty has negatively impacted their lives and their ability to go to school and get their lives back on the right track.
And for those students who have been directly impacted by these HEA provisions, what's the best way for them to get in contact with SSDP?
They can get in contact with us directly through email on our website. They can email me directly at Chris, it's KRIS, at ssdp.org. They can also call us at the office at 202-293-4414. or visit our website, which is schoolsnotprisons.com. And again, this is a provision that has caused almost 200,000 students to lose their financial aid eligibility since it was put into effect back in 2000. And there are currently thousands of students who are ineligible to receive financial aid because of a drug conviction. And if there are any of those students out there listening, I strongly encourage you to get in touch with us. Again, it's schoolsnotprisons.com is our website, and hopefully we will be able to bring you to Washington D.C. to meet with your representatives if you fit the bill, someone who is currently ineligible due to a drug conviction, and to give your personal story about how this has impacted your life and prevented you from turning your life around and going back to school after having had issues with drugs in the past.
This is such a heartbreaking situation for many Americans, Chris. It must be almost impossible for those who lose their federal financial aid to ever get back into college again. It's just so expensive to pay for it outright.
Well, I mean, clearly there are a lot of students out there who rely on financial aid to be able to afford college, and when that aid is taken away, there's simply no way for them to stay in school. And one of the problems is even though the law does allow students to regain their aid eligibility within a few years, depending on the nature of the offense, if they've got a couple of distribution offenses on their record, for instance, they're ineligible for the rest of their life, or 3 possession offenses, convictions, they're ineligible for life. But for anybody with fewer charges than those, they do have an opportunity to regain their eligibility within 1 to 3 years, provided that they complete some sort of treatment program. However, those treatment programs are extremely expensive, sometimes as expensive as college tuition itself. But more importantly, if you look at the federal government's own statistics, when students drop out of school or leave an institution, it's something like 40% of students that leave a 4-year institution never wind up returning. It's even higher when you're looking at community colleges and 2-year colleges. So for a lot of these students, an overwhelming number of students, when they lose their financial aid eligibility to go to college, they have to drop out at least for a year, and most of those students simply will never return to school, and then they are then much more at risk of going on to become a drug abuser. Statistically, drug abuse is much higher among people who do not have a college degree than their college-educated peers, and they're more likely to become sort of drains on our social welfare programs, food stamps, welfare, and so forth, and just have a much harder time turning their lives around when these are people that are trying to go to school, get an education, get a degree, and do something positive with their life. I think that we need to be doing everything we can to encourage these students to stay in school rather than putting up roadblocks to education, which is exactly what this penalty does.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you again for joining us here today for an update on this very important issue. We're going to keep following up on this story with you right here on the Audio Stash.
Thanks so much for having me on to talk about this. It's a really important issue, and hope others will continue to follow our progress and get in touch with their members of Congress and make sure that they do support full repeal of the elimination penalty when the Higher Education Act reauthorization is dealt with probably later this summer or early this fall.
Righto, Chris. Thank you again.
Thanks so much.
Chris Crane is the director of Students for Sensible Drug Policy in Washington, D.C. If you have lost your federal financial aid because of a marijuana or other substance violation, please contact SSDP today. Their number is area code 202-493-4414. You can email them at ssdp@ssdp.org. And we also have their contact information and website listed on our website today at normalaudiostash.com.
You're listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash.
Next up today, it's time for some comedy and music from the Independent Online Distribution Alliance and podshow.com. Oh, wait, let's start off with some great comedy here from the Pot's Greatest Hits CD. We'll let Doug Benson do his introduction.
Has anyone listening to this ever been on a chain gang? Show of hands. There's 1, 2... Well, this next guy has. Here's Ron Schock at the Comedy Caravan in Louisville, Kentucky, telling a great American story.
I've been an advocate of it. I'm one of these radical Americans that thinks that the best thing our country could do is to legalize marijuana and tax it. Like, legalize it and tax it. Legalize it and tax it. Legalize it and tax it. It's our largest cash crop. We need the fucking money, okay? You know, you can't ever get rid of marijuana, since we're on the subject. You know, you can't ever get rid of marijuana. You can't get rid of it. You know why? It's a weed. Here, let me repeat that. It's a weed. That shit grows everywhere, okay? Do you know it'll grow as far north as Alaska on the edge of the Arctic Circle, turn right around and grow in Hawaii? And oh, bless you if you get hold of some of that. Oh, bless you, brother. Bless you, brother. There is a God, and he plays favorites. You know, I've debated people on radio and television, you know, or tried to get some of them to debate me. Some of them just won't do it, you know, because they have no argument for having marijuana, you know, not drug, marijuana legal in this country. I said, why is it illegal? They go, well, it's a drug. And you're an idiot. It's a drug. Well, what an argument that is. Okay, marijuana, THC, is a drug. So is aspirin. Last year, 1,000 Americans died of aspirin overdoses. Nicotine is a drug. This drug tastes good like a drug should. They'll even put menthol in it for me, so in case I do get throat and lung cancer, I'll still have a nice, pleasant taste in my mouth, because my drug company cares about me, Bubba. And this drug is not only your state's largest crop, but it is our country's third largest export. And when we send it to third world countries, we don't put a warning on it. You know why? Fuck them. That's how we do business. We fuck them. This drug kills 250,000 of us every year, according to the American Heart Association. And alcohol's a drug. You don't think we have propaganda in this country? Every day you hear the term drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol. Well, alcohol is a drug, so it can't be drugs and alcohol. That'd be like dogs and Rottweilers. It's a fucking drug. It's a drug. Let's call the truth the truth. It's a drug. Put the word drug in a beer commercial. Budweiser says, for all you do, this drug is for you. Well, thanks, pusher man. Pusher man. Well, alcohol, the drug, kills 100,000 of us every year. So aspirin kills 1,000, nicotine kills 250,000, alcohol kills 100,000, and marijuana never killed anybody anywhere at any time. But why let logics get in the way? I've said this to 500,000 people. None of you have ever known a belligerent stoner, and all of you know a belligerent drunk. Isn't that right? You know that guy. 3 drinks and he can whip Mike Tyson. You know that guy. I'll kick your goddamn ass. I'll kick you goddamn, me and Jack Daniels kick your goddamn ass. Marijuana smoker go, oh, wow. You probably could. We've settled that. I'm going to go get something to eat. Who's acting like the criminal, okay? You know, I drink. I'm not against alcohol. I'm really kind of in favor. I'm a libertarian more than anything else. I believe, you know, if you can do something and without hurting anybody else other than you should have the right to do that. And if you want to go home and blow your brains out with alcohol or cocaine or heroin, I don't care. Do it. Talk some of your friends into it, too. There's way too many of us. Get out of the gene pool. I don't fucking care, okay? You know, now you hurt somebody else, well, then we got a problem with that, okay? You know, I told my kids, the most dangerous drug is alcohol. You know why? Because it's the only drug that you don't know when you're fucked up. You know, every other drug, you know. Oh, boy, you know. There comes a certain distinguishable, definable, recognizable point where you go, oh, man. I am fucked up. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, no, I don't want to go anywhere. Thanks for asking, but I think I'll sit here on the floor and look at this carpet for a while. I am seriously fucked up. And that's where they'll be, right? They're not hurting anybody. Where's Ronnie? He's over there. He's fucked up, okay? We've been there for 5 hours now going, wow. Not a criminal. It's not a criminal. But with alcohol, you'll see tonight, you'll see somebody too drunk to walk, and they're arguing. I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. I can drive the goddamn car. After I kick your ass, man, Jack Daniels will drive the goddamn car. Drunk drivers kill people because, well, they're going too fast. Why? Because they don't know they're fucked up. Now, a marijuana smoker, if they get behind the wheel of a car, which is fairly unlikely, but if they do, the worst that's going to happen to them, someone's going to run over their ass. Just run their ass over because they're going too slow.
Comedy there from the Pot's Greatest Hits CD. We have links to it on our website at normalaudiostash.com. Let's get going with the music.
Beyond my wildest dreams, I'm gonna get closer.
Knowledge is vital, so we're bringing the revival from the disciples of the Son, and so it will become a problem in the long run that'll catch up to all of us. And the Creator we trust to save us from turning into dust. And microorganisms waiting for evolution, so we bring the revolution, curing all this pollution that surrounds the underground community. Nothing is new to me, so we try to bring songs to cling onto your brain like a microchip or cane. Never coming with the same game twice. My best advice is to pay the price and never let your skill suffice, so your soul will be on ice. They say the nice ones die young, so I'm living like I'm riding a speed bike. Never break or make the wrong decision. We're living in a virtual vision of Armageddon. If you never learn your lesson, life will only be a question. We innovate to educate, dedicate, ways to create, demonstrate, and concentrate to elevate each mind state. We innovate to educate, dedicate, ways to create, demonstrate, and concentrate to elevate each mind state. Alpha, Omega, encrypted data, focus like a laser, straight as the equator, deflate the hater, cook like a baker, hot as Jamaica, I'll break her, faker, get you a flaker, beyond us make you wake up, you're wearing too much makeup, jewelry by Jacob, we stay up the bar, assassinated snake with a 16 bar, direct from the dog star, so far beyond, got a GPS satellite, tracker inside the mic with infrared light, take you on the flight, used to be a Jedi Knight, converted to a Sith Lord, now I get more applause, spit volcanic hot fluid, devil made me do it, get wicked like a Jew, put my sneakers on the track and run through it. Yeah. Bus, PXO, normal.
That was Phoenix Orion with Cannabis. We found them at podshow.com. Now it's time for an artist from the Independent Online Distribution Alliance. Here's Sean Hayes with Flowering Spade.
There's a flowering spade growing out of his chest, full of magic and healing. She is a flowering spade. As she moves and she sways, you can see that she feels it. She's off to dance with the goat boys. He's off to sail through your wide open ocean. She learned to sing from a siren. He learned to swim from a drop in the water. There are words, there are signs. Close your eyes, there is magic inside you. Hey, the sparks in your mind, building frames for to trace your desires. She learned to cook from a sailor. He learned to cry in an elephant circus. She found a recipe for flying. He's growing flowers to understand I
That was Sean Hayes with Flowering Spade from the Independent Online Distribution Alliance. Tomorrow's program brings back our weekly segment, Government at Work. And Thursday, August 1st, folks, is the anniversary of FDR signing into law the first marijuana prohibition law in the history of the United States. It went into effect in 1937. We'll be having a special history program on Thursday about that act right here on NORML's Daily Audio Stash. Everyone have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to NORML's Daily Audio Stash, the growing truth about cannabis. Make sure you visit our website at normalaudiostash.com. That's NORMLAUDIOSTASH.com for more information about every day's show. I'm your host, Chris Goldstein. Thanks for listening today. See you at 4:20 tomorrow.